Okay, got a road glide, came in from Delaware. So they decided to use sound deadener to hold the amp in place. They used speaker wire for power. They used screws that were too big, so it actually ripped the surround of the speaker. So that speaker's no longer any good. The 6x9s lids that I hate. Look at that. Hitting as it opens and closes. The customer listened to my recommendation. We're completely removing these lids and putting the stock lids because we're going to do lowers and uppers. We're going to make this bike plenty loud without speakers in the lids, and then we're going to go ahead and do 10s. They put 8s in the bags, but the issue is they mounted the 8 from the outside, not the inside, and they actually cut away his factory bracket right there. That's insane. And then on top of that, this is a mid-range speaker, not a mid-bass speaker, so it's not creating any bass. We're gonna leave the ST25 horns, but we're probably gonna have to move them because we're doing our 10-inch right here. So I'm pretty sure our ring's gonna overlap, so we're gonna have to move the horns here. So we'll make a plate to block off this hole and accommodate the horns here. We're gonna remove these plugs and build our own harness. Look how they just have the plug thrown in there, and deep inside you can see the Rockford amps just laying in there in the back of the bag. It's a shame to see work done like this, especially on such a nice looking bike. Then they threw butt connectors on here that fall right off. Ridiculous. And then they jumped one speaker into the other speaker, used larger butt connectors to accommodate the double wires, but now the connector sits on the speaker loose and doesn't do anything. Lots of fixing. Look at the rat's nest of wiring. And we had to cut the LEDs to get the fairing off because there's no quick disconnects. Bike came with boom audio. The boom audio tweeters are hooked up and jumped into the aftermarket tweeters, so that's got to sound pretty terrible. So we're going to remove these and do our hot tune replacement grills. We're going to repair the harness and put the harness back to factory. We're going to make it right. They butchered the hell out of this factory harness. We're gonna have to cut all this off and put it all back to factory. There's only 2 wires left on the factory plug. Look at that. Would have been quicker to just run new lines to the bags. That's a first. They used the factory boom audio power harness, spliced it, used speaker wire, and used it to power the Rockford amp. Never seen that done before. Poor harness. Okay, so we repaired the bags as best we could. So this is where the Rockford 8-inch was. We now repositioned the Hertz ST35s, gave them a new home, NVS Audio 10, and we repaired the inside of the bag and re-texture coated it and painted it. So now it looks nice and even and smooth. We brought that bag back to life. Now it looks nice and clean, no more holes in the bags. Okay, so we squeezed 2 1200.2s, Evo X's, Ground Zero DSP, all in the fairing. Ground Zero yellow baskets, uppers and lowers. And the biggest rescue was the bags. He gave him back his 6 miles of harnesses were all jammed up in there. And his car speakers. Carlos Ramirez, owner of NVS Audio in Roselle, New Jersey. Got another one from Delaware. So this bike's been through some stuff. He spent upwards of $5,000 at the dealer getting the boom audio upgraded. Did the 3-amp upgrade from Harley, wasn't happy with that. And then he went to a shop that charged them right around the same amount of money and went with all Rockford setup. I wasn't upset at the equipment. I was upset by the way it was just thrown together and nothing was mounted. Such a beautiful bike, and just the work, it wasn't up to par. He wasn't happy with the sound. He wasn't happy with the way it looked. It looked like an abortion inside the saddlebags. It was crazy. So now, 3rd time's the charm. We got everything right. So we cleaned everything up in the bag, resealed the bags up. We did a set of rings, mounted our 10-inch woofers. All the amplifiers are in the fairing, so there's no more amplifiers in the bags. Everything's super ultra clean. Check out how good this came out. So under the fairing, we have 2 Sound Digital Evo X 1200.2s and a Ground Zero DSP. Bike came in with a Sony 7000. Ground Zero yellow basket coax, upper and lowers. We added the lower fairings, so we didn't have to do any speakers in the back. He had we removed those, so we have no speakers in the lids, 6.5 in the lowers, 6.5 in the uppers. NVS Audio 10s. Then we kept the Hertz tweeters. We just made a block off plate where his 8s used to be. We re-texture coated the bags and painted them, so now it looks nice and finished. Nice and neat. All the harnesses are removed. Such a clean look. Just to give you an idea of all the wiring we pulled out of this bag. Now she sounds as good as she looks.
Wanna grab a couple if they really attractive, or I can keep it classy, I can get romantic. It's all up to you, what you wanna do.
I used to love her, leave her, and it's on my budget. Think I'ma keep her. In the wagon, I think the cheaper. Living lavish, so kick your feet up. Better in the club, all the polish showing up. Can you party with a thug? I'm just trying to show you love. I wanna know, so tell me how I'm supposed to know. Let's take a trip to the other side. Tell me if you're thinking otherwise. Boss, I wanna treat you. I'm tired of all the leeches. In love with all your features.